Hello, welcome to the Basketball Soapbox. I'm your host, Daniel Daly. This is season 3, episode 2 here. We're going to be taking a look at the opening week in the NBA. A lot of basketball opening up the NBA season this week. A lot of entertaining things. Let's get right into it. I'm going to start with the Boston Celtics starting five here. I love the way this team is looking right now in terms of on the offensive end. Porzingis has been the biggest impact so far. The ability to spread the floor, the ability to open up the driving lanes for Tatum and Brown, and you're just seeing the dynamics of this starting five. In the Knicks game, Porzingis got off to a red hot start. I believe he had 15 in the first quarter. Continued to build that on throughout the game, kind of going up and down a little bit, but maybe just riding off the emotional high. I believe he played all 15 minutes. But he played all of the first quarter, which is unheard of, most likely. I think he was just trying to stick it to the Knicks in that game. Yeah, and he's been having a tremendous impact in terms of protecting the rim, blocking shots at the rim, shooting the ball, and it's just from his upgrade over people say the trade for Smart. Of course, that opened up things on the offensive end, but I think the upgrade over Horford to be a little bit more dynamic, where Al Horford is older in his role right now, and we're looking at Porzingis, and it's like he's a better shooter. He can finish at the rim better. He's a better rim protector. Probably not the better on-ball defender like Al Horford is, even at this stage of his career, but just in general, the upside of Porzingis right now is paying dividends for the Boston Celtics, and I love it. Just from the standpoint of that, it opens up things. It seems like him and Tatum, even in that Knicks game, as it was getting late, had a good two-man game. Like Jason Tatum trusted him to make those shots late in the game, trusted to find him on those double teams from the New York Knicks, and that paid dividends for the Boston Celtics. Now moving to the Heat game, it was kind of up and down. Jason Tatum did his thing. Porzingis added on points there a little bit late, but the dynamics of Drew Holiday and Derek White we saw in this game here. Drew Holiday on the defensive end, even attacking the glass. I believe he had 10 rebounds in that game. Derek White really showing what he can bring to the table, even in those situations where even he's not relied to score on. He's not relied to score. Porzingis, Tatum, Brown, those guys had it going in the game, but Derek White added his impact in the game. And you saw that especially at the start of the fourth quarter. I believe he knocked down 3 threes and was able to, I think he had 12 in the quarter. But just looking at what Derek White brings to the table, where in the offseason he was told, hey, we're going to big up your role. We're going to start leaning on you to run the offense, be the point guard. And even with the addition of Drew Holiday, you're seeing the impact that Holiday and Derek White have, especially on the defensive end and now on the offensive end. Drew Holiday is going to provide that offensive and secondary playmaking, of course. Derek White as well. But now those guys can potentially step up and score 20 points a game, be able to lead the offense on that in those certain points of the game. Taking the pressure off of Brown, taking the pressure off of Tatum, taking the pressure off Porzingis, where those guys are a little bit more trusted Holiday and White to score now, where they can create their own shots. And I think that's something the Celtics didn't have a lot over the past couple of seasons. It's usually just Brown and Tatum, Al Horford to a certain part of the degree, but usually on spot up threes. But now you have that flexibility of Derek White, Drew Holiday, Porzingis in the starting five. So now that takes the pressure off Brown and Tatum, where they don't have to make everything happen. They don't have to create every play. It's going to come down to those guys ultimately at the end. But right now you're seeing this team really gel well offensively. Looking at things from the defensive side of the ball, I think this is a good starting five defensively. And the Celtics have always been pretty good defensively in those realms. They just have to hold up on that end of the floor a little bit more. Now you got Holiday with White, arguably probably the best defensive backcourt in the NBA. Brown and Tatum, they both said they want to make a defensive team this year. So now you have that impact of that. And now just the rim protection of Porzingis, where even though Al Horford, I believe he got a block last season a game, you're now looking at Porzingis where he got, I believe, 4 blocks in the Knicks game and had a couple blocks the other night. So you're getting that all facets of your defense on the perimeter, and on the interior, it's not as easy to score. So looking at it from that perspective, the Boston Celtics are rolling on all cylinders. Now, the only question marks I would have for the Boston Celtics so far, and it's only 2 games, of course, but just looking at what we've seen in the first two games is just who on that bench is going to step up. Is it going to be Al Horford? He was able to provide a couple threes against the Knicks, but then wasn't able to score against the Heat. Did have 10 rebounds, but it's like, who on the bench right now? A lot of people are hoping that's Peyton Pritchard, who just got paid. You're looking at O'Shea Brissett, who had a nice impact against the Miami Heat there, had a couple energy plays. But looking from the Boston Celtics perspective, looking at rebounding, especially in the Knicks game where they gave up a bunch of offensive rebounds, even to the Heat, defensive play doesn't end until you grab the rebound. And that's something that has been talked about from Charles Barkley, Dwight Howard, great rebounders, great teams in the NBA. Defensive rebounding, that's how you end the possession. And the Celtics have been giving up a lot of offensive and second chance points so far in the two games. But that has been something over the history of the Boston Celtics, especially for the last decade. When you look at their games, they give up a lot of second chance points. So even though our defense is solid, it's like that's the last stitch right there. And that's something that we miss with Robert. People have said that we're going to miss with Robert Williams, who was in and out, but a good defensive rebounder. Good offensive rebounder. So well, the Celtics are still trying to find that part. And that's something that's going to be over the course of the season. If they can figure that out. Obviously, it's going to be gang rebounding. It was nice to see Horford get 10 rebounds, which he doesn't normally do. Holiday also added 10 rebounds. Porzingis is roughly close to 10, but not there yet. So it's going to be definitely something to watch. Those are the two things, the bench and rebounding. Who's going to be able to step up on the bench for the Boston Celtics and who's going to be able to rebound. I think that's one of the things that's going to, even despite our offense and defense being pretty good, giving up those second chance opportunities seems to be the Achilles heel for us right now, so far early in the season. But the Celtics starting five has been awesome so far. I love what I'm seeing. Hopefully they can continue to build. I believe they play Monday night. So that's another game that we'll be watching. Let's move on here to